spectacular super trucks.
The four-wheelers in the Pro Quad category at AA Kyalami for round one of the championship, a series that would be hotly contested throughout the year. The defending champion, Wikus van Deventer, wasn't in the picture and would have a very erratic season, missing a number of events due to injury or other commitments. Pre-season favourite Christo du Plessis on the Johannesburg Yamaha Banshee took the lead in the race, ahead of brothers Mark and Paul Breckel and Jacques Struwig. A number of modifications are allowed in this category, and the riders race on a variety of bikes with various engine sizes. Struwig was on a 250 Suzuki, while Mark Breckel rode a Brasco Yamaha and Paul a Brasco Philips Rotax. Van der Merwe stamped his authority on the race and established himself as the early favourite for the title, while Struwig and the Breckel brothers showed promise of things to come. Van der Merwe took a relatively easy victory, with Struwig ahead of Paul Breckel and defending champion Wikus van Deventer. Van der Merwe would become the man to beat. Round two at Tarleton International Raceway outside Krugersdorp, and this time defending champion Wikus van Deventer on his Jojo Tanks Honda 330 took the early lead. Van Deventer had been the dominant force in off-road quad racing for a number of years, but the man who's credited for starting this form of racing in South Africa had recently found that those that he taught were becoming as masterful as himself. Two of those were Christo van der Merwe, winner of round one, and Jacques Struwig, whose Suzuki only had a 250cc engine against the bigger 300 machines. Van Deventer was grimly holding on to his lead, but as the race progressed, Struwig passed him and he proceeded to put up a marvellous display of riding and racing skills. Jacques Struwig was serving notice that once he'd received his bigger bike, he'd definitely become somebody to contend with. His big strength was his fitness, allowing him to pounce when the older riders started to become tired.
Now it's the 250 against the 350, and Struwig's already looking behind him, down in third place.
Struwig took the race from Van Deventer and Van der Merwe, but it was clear that the outcome of the championship might not be so easy to predict as many had thought.
Baie naby die eerste keer en nou loop jy sommer weg van hulle af.
Ja, is die tweede keer ding in my nuwe fietsry. We gaan nou gewoon trek, al die probleme is uitgesorteer. Ons hoop net gaan goed verder.
Back at AA Kyalami for the third round of the championship, and the battle between the old guard and the young pretenders resumed. Struwig was not in action in this race, but Paul Breckel on his Brasco FMF Philips Rotax took the unexpected lead, ahead of championship leader Christo van der Merwe on the Team Johannesburg Yamaha Banshee, Mark Breckel on the Brasco FMF Yamaha Banshee, and defending champion Wikus van Deventer on the Jojo Tanks Honda. Paul Breckel had few problems holding off Van der Merwe and van Deventer, although Mark Breckel faded away. Skalberger had a good result on his Yamaha. Jacques Struwig was back for round four at AA Kyalami, now on a 330 Honda and under the Jojo Tanks banner, and he proceeded to dominate matters as expected. Mark Breckel and Christo van der Merwe tried to hold on, but it was quickly becoming clear that they didn't have an answer. Defending champ Wikus van Deventer crashed out of the race and out of contention. Pushing as hard as he could, Christo van der Merwe on the Johannesburg Yamaha Banshee was hoping for some kind of a mistake from Struwig, but the Jojo Tanks man was revelling in the conditions and merely extended his lead. Struwig won the race ahead of Van der Merwe and Mark Breckel, but the consistent Van der Merwe was still leading the championship, if only by the smallest of margins.
Die hele seisoen was redelijk goed vir my. Ek het 'n bietjie slegte geluk gehad, maar is uitgesorteer. Ek glo ek kon nie ding gedoen het, maar dit was my nie so vir my bestem nie, en daar kom meer kompetisie, het raak erger, raak taaier en word net al hoe moeiliker. Dit maak dit interessant.
Struwig's strong results in the Pro Quad category and Total Super Series 97 continued at round 5 at Tarleton, where another emphatic victory ensured that he stayed in the hunt for the title. Another youngster, Brendan Martin, on a Yamaha, was starting to show promise by finishing second, ahead of Christo van der Merwe, the two Breckel brothers and David Parkinson. Back at AA Kyalami for the penultimate round of the championship, and Paul Breckel on the Brasco FMF Philips Rotax took the early lead over Brendan Martin and Jacques Struwig on the Jojo Tanks Honda. Christo van der Merwe had a bad start on his Johannesburg Yamaha Banshee and was battling to get through the traffic. Martin is a bright prospect for the future and an indication of how quickly new talent is identified and nurtured in this form of racing. Struig soon took the lead by getting past both Martin and Breckel, and it wasn't long before the Yamaha privateer moved past Breckel to take up second position. Struig's trademark triangular flag could almost be seen to be waving in victory, rubbing salt into the wounds of the opposition's bruised egos. With Mark Breckel down in fifth, he was beginning to come under pressure from David Parkinson on his Yamaha, and a ding-dong battle developed between these two. Parkinson pushed him down to sixth, which is where they finished. No surprises about the winner, but Van der Merwe still held on to his championship lead. The final round of the championship at AA Kyalami and a strong showing by Christo van der Merwe would ensure the Johannesburg Yamaha rider of the title. Once again, he had to overcome a bad start, but so did Jacques Struig, who needed Van der Merwe not to score for him to take the title. But that was not to be.
Op hierdie stadium baie gelukkig. Ek het nie gedink ons gaan daar uitkom nie. Jy weet, hierdie tipe ryery is nie eintlik vir my nie. Ek sê ou daar vir die veld. Dit is iets wat ons moes doen. Dit is goeie advertensie. En ek moet sê Johannesburg Yamaha het hulle uitstekend van hulle taak gekwyt om my fiets elke keer vinniger te maak, om goed voor te berei. Ons het nie eintlik een keer gesukkel nie. Jy weet, dit was maar klein dingetjies wat fout gegaan het, wat buite ons beheer was. So ek dink ons is almal baie bly om dit ja.
A good first victory for Brendan Martin, but a well-deserved championship for Christo van der Merwe on his Johannesburg Yamaha Banshee. The strong showing by the youngster throughout the season heralds great things for 1998.